Hello, fanboys and girls, and welcome to this edition of the Fanboy Fight Club podcast, brought to you by Media Junkies. Every Tuesday, we grace your ears with an either new or classic episode, if Wes remembers to post one, for you to listen to. You can catch up on all of our previous episodes and the other shows that Media Junkie offers, like Rogue Agents, Let's Go Rogue, the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast, hashtag Live Your Gimmick, and also this one on your favorite podcast app by searching Media Junkies or by searching the names of the show. If you're using Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. You can also leave us feedback on our Twitter at Media Junkie Vids. So please reach out to us. We love to get that fan interaction going. My name is Jason. I have the pleasure of hosting the show. It's time to introduce you to the fanboys. Then we'll get into the main event, and that's where the Fight Club part comes in. So let's go ahead and round the horn. First, the brains behind Media Junkie. We have Wes. How you doing?
What up?
What up? Jizzle. All right. And then next we have the host of the Rogue Agents podcast and Media Junkie co-founder, Jamar. How you doing, man?
Let's go Rogue. I'm doing good.
How you loving that new iPhone?
It's amazing. It's 3 times as better than the press. I don't know.
It felt like your last one.
It feels like the last one's just better, right?
That's it.
The same.
All right. And the man who you interact with on all the Fanboy Fight Club social media accounts, we got Jake. What's going on?
What's up?
All right. The delayed reactions are just breathtaking. I love it. And last but not least, we got my co-host of the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast, Michael. How you doing, man? Oh, and the man behind all of our graphics.
I'm ready as I always am, Jason.
I know, man. You're so prepared. I love it.
Does that mean not ready?
Exactly. At all.
He picked his property 3 seconds ago.
So before
I literally wrote it all down like 15 minutes before the show.
So before we get into all this, does anybody wants to bring up, talk about? Anybody seen anything, played anything that they want to talk about?
Yeah, so I'll just jump in here first. For those of you who play PC games, right, one of the most annoying things about them is all of the different launchers you have to play games. You have your Battle.net launcher, which has the Blizzard games. You have your EA Origin, which has all the EA games. You have Steam, which can have, dozens or hundreds and hundreds of games. And now you have the Epic Store one, right? And then there's just going to be more and more of this type of thing. I think even Ubisoft has their own one, and Rockstar also just announced their own one, which, by the way, if you download it, you can get San Andreas for free. But so there's a company, GOG.com, which is also a storefront, but they're coming out with something called Galaxy 2.0. And what it's going to do is it's going to take all of the games you have on your PC and import them all into one launcher. It will also take all of your friends list and compile it into one launcher. You can purchase things. You can't purchase things from Steam, for instance, but if you open the one you did purchase on Steam in Galaxy, you can download it straight from Galaxy. So you don't have to deal with a bunch of different launchers, chugging away at your memory or anything like that. And it's super clean interface. It's in beta right now, but you can sign up for it at GOG.com for the beta. And I'm super happy about this. This is like one of the much needed things that I'm surprised nobody's done yet. And I've seen the way it runs. And it looks fantastic. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And no, we're not sponsored by them, but maybe one day.
I'd care more if we were actually sponsored by them at this point.
Give me free shit.
Yeah, I'm going to dock you points just for putting me to sleep there. I'm sorry.
No, that's actually huge because I'm not a big PC gamer. I've just started recently. And it's kind of a pain in the ass trying to figure out, how do I play that fucking game? Oh yeah, I got to load this up. So that's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Pretty cool.
Turn it on my console, and my games are right there. I'm just saying.
Right? I don't have to have 3 different launchers all loaded into one because it's all right there on one system.
You quit calling your fucking dick a system.
I mean,
because all you do is beat on
STDs aren't games.
Play it, don't you, Wes?
You didn't beat the game for getting an STD. Like you just beat life.
It's the best multiplayer system I have.
Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty sure it's a single player.
Oh, only sometimes.
And it comes with a built-in launcher, so you're good.
So you guys gave shit, but it just led to all those good jokes. So you're welcome.
Anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we move on?
Sure, I'll bring up the fact that for Titans, they're still filming, and someone leaked some set photos of the new Nightwing costume, both front and back, and oh boy, my body is ready for this season to fucking hit that point. I've waited so many years for live-action Nightwing, and this is just everything I could ever hope for, and I've been hard ever since.
Was it the backside that really got you going?
Oh yeah, they got that Dick Grayson booty real good.
The dick booty?
The dick booty.
I'm so glad you moved to Arizona when those pictures leaked, because I swear to God I could have heard your boner from here.
Probably, yeah.
You probably still could have.
I mean, it did knock over my my end table, so.
Impressive.
Yeah, that really is. Those are normally low to the ground.
Oh my gosh. All right, cool. Anybody else have anything that they want to bring up, like, about getting hard and knocking end tables over, anything like that?
Both of these things have led to dick jokes, so we should probably move on to the main event.
I feel like I feel like there's a theme to the show already.
It was because of Mike both times, though.
That is 100% true.
All right, so I'm actually in the battle this week, so I'm going to go ahead and take a back seat. I'm going to pass the mic over to Jamar and Wes. They're going to be hosting and judging tonight's battle. So take it away, gentlemen. Get us all set up.
Welcome to the main event.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Was that a pretty good job, Jason?
That was great. I loved it. I wasn't even expecting it. I got goosebumps.
I'm all ready to snap into a Slim Jim. Let's do this.
Snap into a coffin.
Well, like you,
more like a tree.
Settle down. I feel like a teacher when I'm hosting. So weird,
right?
Welcome to Jason's life.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
All right, so this week our match is featuring Jason, our host, Mike, and of course the bitch of the week, Jake.
Oh yeah.
So we're battling over movies. Basically, the idea was to see what movie could translate into a great video game, and then you make a case for it. So I'm really excited. I have an idea for each one of your guys' ideas, so I'm curious to see if you can live up to my expectations. We'll see how that goes. But let's tell you about how the main event works. Everybody gets a intro round to make their case, and then after that, we go straight into fuck everyone else, which is basically an opportunity to shit on everybody else's idea. Then the next one comes up, it's don't come for me, which is a good time to defend it, right, Wes? Yeah, that's so true. And then the last one is the closing arguments, where you get in the last bit of words that you need to see if you can seal the deal for your victory. And with that said, each round is 30 seconds, except for the intro and the closing round. So guys, keep it tight. Let's try to stay underneath this clock. We want this show to not last forever. And then in each round, we're going to go ahead and judge it. Wes, you're going to be able to keep score on your end, right?
Yeah, totally.
All right. I'll have my numbers as well, of course. So basically, the idea is to not be the loser, because we all know what happens when you're the loser. You become the bitch of the week. And speaking of the bitch of the week, beach of the week.
The beach of the week, yeah.
That should be the prize.
I'm actually going to do, Wes, I don't know if you were prepared for this, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you just to explain a little bit more about the bitch of the week.
Oh yeah, brother. So yeah, my throat is fucking killing me. Thank God I'm a judge.
I love the transition from Valley Girl to Macho Man. It's just flawless.
Thank you. All right, so Fanboy Fight Club's punishment, also known as the Bitch of the Week seat. The loser of the round will continue to the next week, and the judges pick the subject for the topic. So this week is Jake. He's the Bitch of the Week, and Jamar and I collectively decided and picked his topic, which he will go into in a little bit. Your job is to review the subject given and create a valued argument to get out of the loser's seat. The new loser will then move on to the next podcast with the subject picked for that topic. If there are two leaders, a sudden death will be initiated, which we will discuss that if that does occur. The judges and the winner then pick the second place winner, and we'll go ahead and go. I'm good. I just kept reading.
The page I did. I don't know where to go from here.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't prepared.
No, it's all good. So you guys get the idea, right? You ready to fight?
Ready.
Ready as always, as.
All right, so we have first round. Let's hear you guys make your case. Up first. Sorry, Mike. Hope you don't shit your pants, but you're going first, bro.
That's only the other podcast that I shit my pants to. Get it right.
Don't shit your pants.
It's only when he's trying to do a urine test does he shit himself.
Sounds like there's more to that story,
lady.
but no time on the clock for you, Mike. Go ahead and make your case for your video game that used to be a movie. We'll say it that way. Go.
All right, so my video game that used to be a movie that I have chosen is The Shape of Water. It's obviously a very obscure choice, but I feel like with the gameplay style I've chosen, it's going to be fantastic. You start with just doing the simple tasks of Eliza's maidly duties day to day until you finally discover the Amphibian Man. From there, you have to sneak around Metal Gear style and secretly kind of court him little by teaching him sign language and feeding him hard-boiled eggs. All while, when you're at home, working with your neighbor to figure out how you're going to break him out of this prison he's essentially in and kind of bring him back to your place and then eventually free him. From there, once you do this, you also, all the choices you make from there will decide how the game plays out. So if you fuck up and leave something behind, like your ID card, or you don't turn off like the cameras or something, then obviously security is going to be a little tight on your way out the door. Once you do eventually break him out, though, and you bring him back to your place, that's when you get to play the greatest QuickTime event since God of War. That's right, you're going to get to fuck the Little Merman in your bathroom the entire time, trying to hope that you can keep up. And this QuickTime event can decide anything from if you're a good lay, a bad lay, if you get wrong hold, and also if you get knocked up by a swamp monster that can't pay child support.
If you get wrong hold.
And all this will be very well done because our budget's going to be super low and the game's going to be super cheap because both the main characters are mute, so we don't have to pay the actors to come back and reprise their roles. So you're going to get this on PlayStation, PC, Xbox, whatever, Switch, whatever you want. You get to fuck the swamp monster, and it's going to be like $20. And you just get to go through and play an amazing game and get really weird experience from start to finish. And that is my my version of The Shape of Water, the video game.
Oh boy.
Wrong hold has to be like the best achievement you can ever get and also an automatic game over, right? Like,
I dig it.
Well, especially because water is not a good lubricant, so I mean.
10 minutes of her just bending over dry heaving.
The funny thing is that I'm sure most people would have thought that you were the bitch of the week by your choice of Shape of the Water, but good job, man. Good job.
Mike, as a judge, I have no words for you yet.
All right, let's move it along if we possibly can. I'm sorry, Jason, that you have to follow up that, man. So you're gonna be up next.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of excited to follow that up. I feel like anything I have now is going to sound great. All right, so I went back and forth on a couple of things. Originally, I was going to try and do John Wick, but then upon some research, found out that they're making a game called John Wick Hex, which is like a turn-based game. Which, why would you turn one of the best action movies of all time into a turn-based game? That just sounds dumb to me. But anyway, my idea would have been a shit ton better. But forget all that. We're going to pivot. We're going to go with something a little bit better. So what I decided to go with was actually an old movie that was kind of a cult classic. It was a big favorite. It's one of a John Carpenter movie called Escape from New York. And it stars Kurt Russell, who plays a character called Snake Plissken. And basically he's a, ex-war hero turned mercenary criminal. And basically the premise of this, it takes place 16 years in the future, which put it at like the year 1997. So obviously the world didn't end up this way, but basically New York became an island, which is like basically a prison for like all the like basically all the shitty people in the world, right? So they all get put on New York Island and they're just there to live it out. Like that's their prison sentence. They can just kind of do whatever they want. And kind of the movie starts off with, Air Force One is flying over New York, and it's hijacked. The president escapes in a pod, which lands in New York City in the prison. At the same time, Snake is on his way into the prison, and because the guy that basically is in charge of it, his name's I think it's like Huck or something like that. But anyway, so he basically knows who Snake is, and he wants him to go in and save the president, and says that he'll give him a full pardon, right? So I'm going to change a few things up with that, though, because that concept doesn't make it for like a compelling video game that'll last a long time, right? So basically, we're still going to have Snake Plissken. He's still the main character, but instead of coming onto the island, he's actually going to be already there. He's kind of in hiding. Everybody thinks he's dead, but they know where he is because they have a way of monitoring everybody's vital signs. Because if we're going 16 years in the future from now, it's 2033. So by then, we could definitely put a chip in somebody's arm that monitors if they're dead or alive, right? So basically, we're going to have Snake Plissken, who basically gets recruited again to save the president. It's kind of the same premise. He ends up in there. But the whole idea of it is that they're going to basically give him 72 hours to find the president, get him out alive, and offer him a full pardon, maybe even throw a little other incentive in there to make it a little bit more tear jerking, like, hey, maybe he has like a long lost kid or daughter or something like that they're going to hold over his head, like, hey, we're going to hurt this person if you don't help us, right? Okay. Because Snake only does things when it benefits him. He doesn't want to do anything if it's not going to benefit him, right? So basically, we're going to have there's a few different cast members are pretty important to the movie, but we're going to kind of repurpose them for the game just to kind of make it more fit that game format, right? So the military guy in charge, we're going to put him as Rob Riggle just to get his voice in there for a little bit of humor, because he's got that authoritative Navy voice, or well, not Navy, he was in the Marine. He's got that Marine voice with that command, but then he also has that kind of satire, that funniness, that kind of keep things kind of lighthearted. Throughout the movie, there's a cabbie that just kind of shows up, and he basically gets Snake out of some different situations. So we're going to bring Cabbie back and kind of use that as like a way to fast travel. So you have Cabbie that you can basically whistle for, and then he's going to come through and he's going to pick Snake up and be able to drive him through the city and take him from place to place. So the city will be basically broken up into like the different boroughs, and the way they're going to do it is they're going to have like the main antagonist, his name is, what the fuck is that? The main antagonist, his name is the Duke, right? So the Duke is the one who kidnaps the president. So he has his little commanders stationed out throughout the city. So basically, Snake has to find his way through those. Yeah, that was nice. The way he's gonna. I need to close that shit. Holy. Sorry for anybody that doesn't know where I'm going at. Somebody just threw me a picture of Edward Scissorhands with lesbians on his hands and really fucked up my day. So Jake's trying to cheat. Anyway. So basically, the long and short of it is that he's going to have to make his way through the city. I picked Insomniac to develop the title because I love what they did with the combat system on Spider-Man, and how, like, basically as you played the game, it still felt fresh. It still felt new. You can unlock different abilities. You can unlock different weapons and different, like, homemade bombs, Molotov cocktails, different items like that he can carry around. You can also unlock like different weapon attachments, ways that you can finish off with enemies and things like that. Just try to keep things fresh and have some fun with it. And yeah, I don't want to keep going. I have like so many other things on here, but maybe I'll leave some stuff for the closing. I'll just end it with that. I think Escape from New York could be a fun game, and yeah. I'm just closing it out. I feel like I've just word vomited all over. I'm not used to this battle thing.
I'd say it was actually not terrible. You gave a lot of good detail in there. So
yeah, I have so much more too, and I just completely that whole Edward Scissorhand thing's just fucked me up.
All right, well,
sabotage.
Let's move on then. Let's go to Jake. I'll have you present and make your case. Hopefully you can do the stakes are pretty high right now.
I'm hoping it's Edward Scissorhands now.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even see the photo. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't look at it.
All right. So before I say what property I had, let me just kind of set the scene real quick. So you open up in the first game before any title sequence, before anything. Two guys in the middle management types, mid 40s, early 50s, sitting around a water cooler, and they're just, bullshitting back and forth. And they're like, hey, you see, Karen in accounting, or blah, blah, or man, fuck that guy. He's so full of himself. He doesn't even know what, and boom, cabin in the woods. Just like the movie, jump scare out of nowhere for no fucking reason. Both of us. I just scared both my future wife and my dog when I did that. So that's how the movie opens. That's how the game will open. I'm doing cabin in the woods. So, how would you turn this into a video game? The main objective of Cabin in the Woods is going to be an asymmetrical PvP game. You're going to have 5 campers, and they're going to be each of the archetypes. Of course, you have Dana the Virgin, Holden the Scholar, Kurt the Athlete, Jules the Whore, and Marty the Fool. The main goal for the campers is to survive a certain amount of time. Generally just kind of thinking about it, I was thinking 15 to 20 minutes until the elevator malfunctions and opens up and allows them to descend into the complex. Survivors can also complete a set of randomized set objectives, which would be procedurally generated, and gain access to the elevator even quicker. With access to the complex, the match will end and the players can choose to either remain in the same lobby or exit out and survive again. Now here's where the asymmetrical part comes in. You have a team of 5 competing against 2. The 2 people would be the controllers. They'll be in charge of whatever creatures or summons the campers happen to stumble upon. And what will control what gets summoned, you might ask? Well, it will also be procedurally generated by a random set of hidden objectives that the campers will do in the first minute or 2 of the game. Like if they start in the cabin, say 3 of them go into the kitchen first. Well, that will, tick a box for that. 2 of them decide to sit on the couch. Just things that they can't avoid doing. And there would even be ones if they all just stand there for the 30 seconds. And that would also prevent any kind of gaming the system to where they can force the easiest summons every time and have an advantage. Once something is summoned, the controllers can switch back and forth between either controlling the summoned creature or using special effects in the control room, like setting traps, releasing gas into certain rooms that can, slow down the campers or, quote unquote, make them dumber. They can set certain weapons to be given to the summons. Say, they have the incestuous redneck murder zombies. Well, they can give them better weapons. They can put that bear trap out there for them, or they can give them a bigger machete, or however you want to look at it. The objective for the controllers is to either kill all the campers, but they will also receive bonus points or more points to rank up for killing the virgin last. Just like in the movie, the virgin has to die last, or else the sacrifice is not performed correctly. And the old gods get mad and everybody loses. Now, you might be wondering why I said that, if the campers survive, they can stay in the lobby or leave. Well, those that choose to stay in the lobby will move on to the second version of the map, which would take place in the complex. The campers that died before the time ran out would now be on the controller side of things, but they would only be able to control summons that got unleashed in the complex. Just like in the movies, it's going to get nuts, it's going to get crazy, it's going to amp up the adrenaline even more with everything running around. Everything that could be running around is in there. The surviving campers that make it down into the complex would just have to get to the altar. That would be their main objective, to just survive. The 2 controllers' objective at that point would be just to kill the remaining campers, but they'd no longer have access to any of the special effects or traps or access to the summons at all. It would just be those 2 people. But a weapons cabinet in the control room would open up, and they'd be able to grab some guns, some grenades, flamethrowers, stuff like that. Now, not to make it too unfair for the surviving campers, they'd have access to any weapons they might find on the ground, whether it's a gun from a killed security guard or a scythe that some demon dropped after getting killed by a bigger, better summon, so on and so forth. Essentially, the second mode of this PvP would take it from A side versus B side to an A versus B versus C, just to mix things up even more and keep it more interesting. The style of this gameplay would lead itself well to a survival horror game, as well as having endless replayability. With options to rank up, every player would have incentives to give each side a try, and the PvP style also lends itself to future updates, preferably for free, which could have new summon creatures, more survivors. Also, I'd really like to see more locations like the Tokyo School or a hell-seeking summoning circle or an Irish fairy ring, all these kind of places on Earth that have kind of this power to them, this sacredness to them. Now, you might be saying, like, but I just want a single player game. Well, that's where the final girl mode comes into play. It's a wave-by-wave survival mode that takes place in the complex, much like the second stage of PvP, but it would just be surviving campers, taking on wave after wave of random summons to make it to the altar, let's say 20 waves or so, increasingly getting harder each time. Needs to say, this game just needs to get made. It's probably the best out of the 3 suggestions, and it's also probably the most creative. So that's my pitch for Cabin in the Woods.
Hey, Jake.
All right.
What mic are you using?
My headset.
Just take it off and drop it.
I thought I was about to get insulted, and I was
No. I'm just gonna say first, like I'm actually pretty surprised. I was leaning a different way. I'll admit, like when we first talked about this Cabin in the Woods, I was thinking more of a I keep forgetting the name of the game. What was the story-based game, Wes? Do you remember?
Until Dawn.
Yes,
Yeah,
Until
Until Dawn.
Dawn. That's what I thought. I was like, dude,
I thought
I
about
could
it.
see him going with Until Dawn, idea. Completely didn't expect that, so that's pretty cool. You want to say something?
Yeah, I'll go
Oh.
ahead and say something. So I'm going to go right into the rating system. So I'm going to start with Mike. So I got your Shape of Water idea. You focus a lot on amphibian sex, which makes me kind of feel weird. $20 price point though, I do like that, so that's good. Keeping it cheap with the low budget makes you sell it for cheap. I do dig that. Jason, Escape from New York. That's a great topic, and the game sounds like it could be great. Using Cabby as your way to fast travel is a genius idea. I'm honestly surprised it hasn't made into a game already. And Insomniac is definitely a developer. And when you're talking with Jamar being a judge, you mentioned the key points: Insomniac and open world. And he popped the boner, and I heard it. So no, it's a great topic. And then Jake with Cabin in the Woods. Honestly, I thought it was a very hard topic. I mean, there's many different ways you can take it. I did not expect you to take it that way, but I loved it. It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. The one thing that I like, that I think that sets it apart from the other ones, is the 2 different modes. So we have different survival games out there, like Until Dawn or Friday the 13th, when you have the 5 different campers with the different archetypes, and then your goal is to reach the complex. Smart. The best idea you had is when it switched over into the second map of the complex. Anyone that died and now takes over the waves, and you go from AVB to AVBVZ, and that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. And I dig the free multi DLC and the multiplayer maps, and I feel like it would work rather well. And that would be my top choice. So my top choice would go to Jake, my second choice would go to Jason, and my third would go to Mike.
Wow. Excuse me, clear my throat a little bit. Yeah, so you pretty much have the same. I'm gonna spare us with like a lot of talking because you basically hit like some of the points that I was already gonna say. But really, I just wanted to commend you, Mike, solely on the fact that you actually chose something that was extremely difficult to make into a game, and a Metal Gear Solid style Prison Break within like God of War sex quick time events. Sounds pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. But the main thing I was missing with you was like, again, I was looking for more specifically the details as far as like who's going to be the developer, what's the like options as far as like DLC, shit like that you want to hear when you like a game comes out. So for that reason, I'm going with Jake number 2. I'm going with Jason number 1, and I'm going with Mike number 3.
The good thing about this game is it doesn't like you can win the first thing, but you can, even if you have like a not the best idea, you can come in with the attack and defend round and fucking destroy everybody. I know it because I never win them. It's the only reason I know that.
Well, I think you're alluding to the second round, which is the fuck everyone else, which is basically a situation here. I would love to hear from Jake first. Let's see what you have to say and shit on their ideas.
Okay, so the way this works is going to be a 30-second round. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get 30 seconds on the clock. And
all right.
Jake,
Go
are you
ahead.
going to be ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, and then 3, 2, 1, go.
Honestly, applaud to Mike for picking something outside the box for once, but you went too far outside the box. It's a great movie, but you can't put the humor that you want into it without making a really weird fetishy game. That game's going to end up on like Pornhub, not on game trailers. Jason, when you're looking at Escape from New York, they tried to make a game back in early 2000s. It failed. It
5
fell through.
seconds.
It didn't come out. Metal Gear Solid did come out, and it's better than what you want it to be.
Time. I
right.
wanted to mention something a little bit earlier. I'm kind of disappointed nobody picked Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah.
All right, so
You have to save all the children. No, I think they made a game out of Ernest Scared Stupid. I
No, they
swear to God they
didn't.
did.
they
I
did.
swear to God they did.
I'll hang myself tonight if they did. Okay,
Oh God.
Jamar, who's
All right.
next?
We got Mike up next.
All
30
right,
seconds
Mike.
on the clock.
30 seconds clock. You ready, buddy? Okay. Mike, did Mike
Did he say
rage
anything?
quit? Did he rage quit?
Sorry, I realized I was muted. I was taking a drink. My bad.
All right, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, I'm gonna start with Jason. Like, come on now. You basically just described Arkham City. You've got your hero stuck in a city that's filled with a bunch of criminals and thugs, and he beats them up to try to save someone. It's already been done. It's been done better. No one's gonna bring back a game that's 22 years old for a movie that no one really is gonna give a shit about in 2019. And as far as Jake goes, I mean, your game is super all over the place. It's way too complex for a multiplayer, especially for matchmaking.
Time.
I feel like you're about to go in, Mike.
I was ready.
Yeah, but his main complaint was too complicated. Really, like.
All right.
Okay,
For
save that
matchmaking
for the third
nowadays, it is.
Obviously, you've never played Dead by Daylight, so.
Oh my God, that game is so complicated. All right, Jason,
All right.
you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Mike, listening to you, I felt like I got wrong hold, so that shit was very painful. That's all I got to say about that. Demon summons, bear traps, killing campers, random weapons. You basically made a more complicated Friday the 13th. Jake, it's been done. It's already been done multiple times. I mean, it sounds kind of complicated and fun, but nobody's going to stick around to control those summons things. And yeah, I don't see it happening. I think people will just rage quit and go on to the next.
That's it. All right, Jamar, you go ahead and kick this one off.
All right, so I'm gonna. I feel like yeah. All right, I'm gonna start here. So, Mike, I feel like you were about to go the direction that I was thinking, like screaming in my head, like, why are you not bringing this up? But the originality for both of their topics. So I like that you kind of started to go that route, knowing that these games have been already made. And Jake, you made a really, really good point. The main purpose of video games is to be played. And there's very, very, very little games that have had like an adult rating that are able to be purchased anywhere, even on all the game launchers that PC has. And then Jason, you actually did a really good job. You came out really strong and shit on both of the ideas. I feel like you kind of are the one that balanced out both of them the best. So I'll go from there. I'll give my score afterwards. Do you want to go?
Yeah. Give your score afterwards. That works for me. Yeah. So I'm gonna go right into it. Mike, I liked how you took Jason's idea and compared it to Arkham City. That's pretty spot on. And that bringing back an old movie, I think it could work for a game. So I think you're wrong there. But the Arkham City has definitely sold me on what you were saying. Jason, you started off with 10 seconds being wasted on a joke about wrong holes. Not exactly I would have taken it. And then you started going into, hey, it's a more complicated Friday the 13th. It's been done multiple times. The problem is so has open world sandbox games. So I kind of feel like you were also attacking your own at the same way. I meant. Jake, you mentioned how Mike went too far outside the box and how the game would be on Pornhub. You're absolutely right there. So who I'm going to give this topic to would be Mike. I felt like Mike did attack very well. He spent a little bit more on Arkham City than I would have liked, or a little bit on Jason's idea than I would have liked. But it's the one that I didn't think of. And then when he mentioned it, I was like, oh shit, that is Arkham City. Fuck, you opened my eyes on that. My second spot will go to Jake, and my third will go to Jason.
Oh, okay. Well, my number one, I wrote this down back. I'm doing the score instead of the ranking. So I just realized, like, wait a minute, that's not right. All right, so I'm giving Jake number one. I mean, Mike, I'm giving you a point only on the sole foundation that I think you were going in the way that I was thinking. So I'm giving you number two.
I'll make you feel better. I 100% was.
All right.
And I had like 5 more seconds. I was on it.
Don't let me down.
Based on how you broke it down after the round, though, it sounded like you were favoring things a little bit different.
Right? I was not expecting
I
this
thought
to
we
go
were
away.
arguing. I thought we were
You
discussing
acted like you were going to give me the most points on that one, and then you totally pivoted after Wes made his points.
No.
I feel like there's some colluding there.
There's zero colluding, actually. Zero colluding.
It's hard to collude when you don't even know what that means.
And now you're getting points taken away because you sound like Trump. So
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, like, wow.
No
Wes
collusion.
just turned
No
orange.
collusion,
Wow.
collusion,
Wow.
collusion.
Collusion. There's no collusion.
All right, I'm going on round number 3. We're going to do the "Don't Come for Me," which, hey, Jason, don't come for me. I'm the judge.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of you, Jason, you're actually going to be up first for the "Don't Come for Me." So I'm ready for you to make a good point for your game. We're going to put 30 seconds on the clock.
All right, we got 30 seconds to clock. Are you ready, Jason?
I'm ready.
Oh, my throat hurts so fucking bad. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Jake, you're right. They did try to make a game back in the day, but they couldn't do it justice. This idea will bring it to an open world and have some fun with it, and the city will be done right, and graphically it will look a lot more beautiful, and it'll actually have a lot of fun. Mike, yeah, I'll give you the Arkham City, but there's also Batman, there's also Spider-Man, there's other games like that. But don't tell me nobody cares about it, because they're actually currently trying to reboot the movie right now. If nobody cared, they wouldn't be working on rebooting the movie. And then also, Jake, you said something about it being Solid Snake, Kojima-based Solid Snake off of Snake Plissken. Anyway.
Jesus Christ. Can you stop
There
all
you
those
go.
words?
You made the connection.
Oh,
though.
man.
You made the connection.
Oh, man. That just he hit that tree so hard at the end.
Okay. That was good.
All right.
That was really good.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up Kojima. Good call.
Mhm.
You know my buttons. All right, Jake, you're up next. Defend your point.
All
right,
right.
on the clock.
Wait.
Yep.
30 seconds on the clock and go.
All right, so you guys are saying that like it's overcomplicated. It's really not that complicated. It just has more modes to say. And Jason's saying that people wouldn't stick around. You fucking kidding me? You're not going to stick around to be able to play as a giant creature and just murder the fuck out of people. And then as far as Mike was saying about how, you know, they've already done it. Friday the 13th no longer exists as a game because it got shut down by the publisher. Dead by Daylight does very well, and this could fit into the same niche, and there doesn't only have to be one game in a niche. Look at every single first-person shooter. You have Call of Duty, you have Battlefield.
Time.
They all exist outside of each other.
My God, what's wrong with you guys today? Keep going over them.
I feel like you just made an argument for all of our points.
All right.
Yeah, maybe it should be just. All right. Up next, we have Mike. Defend your point. 30
All right.
seconds on the clock.
And go.
Okay, I love that everyone's biggest problem is, oh, your game's too dull. We all grew up in, like, we witnessed the 90s, and that's pretty much all we saw was adult stuff, and it wasn't a big problem. There's tons of rated M games. They're all over the network and sold in GameStop. It's not going to be rated adult only. I didn't say you're going to see the fish penis pop out. I said you're going to get to have a real fun QuickTime event where you bang a fish man. I mean, come on now. You're getting a little too creative in your mind of what you're going to be seeing. We're not talking like a full-on, like, 20-minute scene of this fish man just banging it out.
Time. Fucking Christ.
Fish man banging it out.
All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and go first here.
I'm going first. I'm gonna say my score first, so they don't.
Oh yeah, he doesn't want Jason to think that he changed his mind.
Right, I'm gonna go exactly first. So don't change your score, Wes.
Oh man,
Mine's already locked.
All right, so even though he complained about the last round, I'm gonna pick Jason as number one, just because you did a decent job of bringing up, like, again, both points. And you defended your topic with giving more examples of other games that are successful open world games. I know a lot of people say open world fatigue is a thing. It's not. It's like a good value for a game. You spend $60 on a game, you can play it for hours and hours and hours. So good call there. I'm gonna give Mike solely on just the aggression in his voice. But also, I mean, you do make a good point as far as the mature rated games. If you can commit to actually, I don't know why I'm talking as if you're actually making this game, but if you can really commit it to where like God of War level sex scene, then that can be a game. So I'll give you that point. Jake, I'm only giving it to, like, I would wish I can give all of you guys a point because your argument was good, but Mike just had so much aggression. So I want to reward him for that.
Yeah, because he was thinking about fish sex.
I know. I think he's trying to make.
You don't get worked up over fish sex, then. What's wrong with you?
So I actually have a different order for everybody on my side. So this is actually a pretty good game, and you guys are all bringing it, which I do like. Jake and Jason, what I liked about you guys is you guys focused on each person on the individual basis. So you'd be like, hey, Jake, hey, Mike, you guys focused on them and kind of counteract their ideas, which I think you guys did really well there. The top spot that I will give to is going to be Jake. He focused on, the complication, also covered on how Friday the 13th, it still exists, but it's not currently being updated or still being worked on because of the rights. Awesome. I like that you reached on that and how there's a void kind of fill here. Jason, I thought you did a really good job as well. You focused on the Arkham City and kind of going after Arkham City and how it's an open world game that could be done justice. And Mike, you're in my last spot, buddy. The reason being is you focus so much on fish sex, it makes me uncomfortable.
Literally, both their arguments against mine were that, it's too adult, fish sex, wrong hole jokes. Like, that was their only arguments against me. That's the one.
I have to point out that Jamar gave Mike the most points for talking about fish sex, and Wes gave Mike 0 points for talking about fish sex.
This is why it's a good game, because it's all different. It hasn't been the same order for anything yet. And the main problem I had with it is the 90s were definitely more strict than they are now. And there was not too much adult stuff in the 90s. It was more to 2000s.
I was thinking more of like our cartoons, like Rocko's Modern Life and stuff like that, had a lot of like adult, like fucked up shit in it.
Okay, I see where you're connecting there, because when I think of the 90s, I think it's very more...
they tried to censor a lot of games.
There's a lot of censorship in the 90s.
I just think of Dayglow.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
In the 90s.
Okay.
The terrible fashion, not
I thought this was like some sort of shitty like indie movie or something that I saw.
No.
All right, well,
I need to figure out where we are in points. Holy shit.
I have mine like calculate down.
Oh, okay. I've been calculating both words together.
Oh, okay. I can just see like a picture of mine too, All right, let's get into the closing arguments. You guys don't have a time limit, which is good because all of you guys went over 30 seconds. So up first, we have Jason. Wait, I'm sorry. Nope, Jake. Go ahead, man.
All right, yeah. So out of all of these games, mine has the most longevity and the most replayability, as well as the most chance to be updated, right? Like this game could go on for years and years and years. An open world game, yeah, you might get 50 hours out of it, and that's going to be that. The Tall Tale games you get maybe 20 hours out of, and that you can't really replay them. Yeah, you can change things here or there, but the end result's going to be the same. When it comes down to, I know Jason said that Kojima based Snake off of Snake Plissken. You're right, and he did it better than a Snake Plissken game ever could be. You cannot beat Metal Gear Solid at their own games, and that's what he made those games for, is to be like Snake from Escape from New York, and he did it better. Metal Gear Solid is essentially Escape from the island it's on. So, that's my closing argument.
Damn. All right. Well, next up, bringing the super aggression over Mike. Go ahead, man.
All right. I mean, out of the three, we've got Arkham City redone with a different skin on it. And then we've got super complicated Friday the 13th, which, as far as longevity, people can't even commit to a full round of Friday the 13th, let alone 3 rounds of like different shit with all sorts of choices. mine's simplistic. It's a $20 game that you just happen to come across. You're like, oh, this is fun, and then you get some like what the fuck moments out of it, plus some great gameplay. You're not going to go back and look at the developer unless like you really fall in love with it and let's see what else they've done. And it's not something that is gonna blow your mind like a $60 game would. It's just there to kind of be different, be out there, and give you more options than what's out already.
Are you done?
All right.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
gotta say you're done. I thought you were making like.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize that I had to announce that I was finished. My
That's
bad.
a deep breath that he's taking right now.
All right, and lastly up, finishing it out, Jason.
All right, real quick, I just want to address the one thing that Jake said at the end. You can't say that Kojima did Snake Plissken better if there's never been a video game to compare it to. It's a movie comparing to a video game. Yes, he used the character as the basis for his character, but that's two completely different things. You're talking about an espionage game. This is an action hero, basically. So looking at it from this perspective, like yes, it is a sandbox open world game. But you get the beautiful look of the game based off of having a city like New York and basically tearing it down and making it prison. So it's a completely different concept on a city that's been done. It's an actual city, not a made up one like Gotham. So it's a little bit different, right? So we're kind of getting into real life, but with kind of fake characters, which I like. All right. So anyway, it is going to be set up a little bit differently, though. The one idea that I had was the final boss fight where you're trying to save the president is going to be basically timed, and you have a period of time where you have to save him and get out of the city, and you have a lot of obstacles put in front of you. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. The escape games are great, and you can even have Snake basically get screwed over at the end, which can lead to a sequel, which would be Escape from LA, which would also give you another visually stunning game where you have to try escape out of the island that is now Los Angeles. Los Angeles, after an earthquake, basically tears it off the face of the United States. So there's so much potential there. And yeah, they are trying to reboot it as a movie, but in my opinion, it would be much better rebooted as a video game because you can play as this iconic character and have a lot of fun with it. So it'd be a great single player game, something that you can basically, sit down, play for a couple hours, maybe, take out a couple of boroughs or two and just kind of have some fun with. And it's something you can keep picking up over and over and over again and doing something different. Grant you, it doesn't have the online replayability, but how boring did Friday the 13th sometimes get after a while, because either A, you're playing with a friend and you screwed over everybody else, or B, you weren't playing with a friend and you got screwed over by everybody else. And it just kind of became one of those things where you just got ridiculously frustrated. So it's, and Mike, I can't even get into your topic, man. I'm going to stop talking. I don't want to hear anything else about fish sex for the rest of the night. But that's all I got to say. Escape from New York would make a great video game. There's a great property there to have a lot of fun with. Let's reboot it into a game, not a movie. The end.
Can I just say two things that won't affect my score?
No.
We can save it for the end.
The last
Save it for
mission
the
that
Discord.
Jason just explained is the end of Metal Gear Solid. You have to beat the boss and then escape in a certain amount of time. That is the end
Also,
of Metal
he
Gear
never
Solid.
clearly played Metal Gear Solid 4, which was basically a 9-hour movie. So
I played all the
Same
Metal Gear
thing.
games, so yes, I did play it.
And then also, I feel like both Mike and Jason are like, oh, nobody will play your game because it's complicated, and then you get screwed over by your team. If you get screwed over, you stay for the next part, rape them as a summon. That is the whole point. You can't have a team.
you clearly have never played Friday the 13th because that's not how those matchmaking rooms go at all.
Dude, I'm
Hey,
telling
Wes.
you,
You're lucky if there's
that's
one person at the end.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Is there another round? It seems like there's another round.
No, I was just kind of letting them go because Fish Sex versus Solid Snake versus Friday 13th is a pretty good fight. Yeah, Jamar, go and kick this one off.
All right. So for the closing, I'm gonna just make this short and simple. I'm going with Jake for winning the round. Primarily because of not so much of what you gave, which you did, kind of clarify a little bit better. And I don't want to say explain the game because that's not really what you did, but you did make a statement for why your game should be made. But I'm more so detracting from the other two because they went kind of totally into Don't Come Me. And So that's maybe where I'm giving the nod.
Jake started that.
No,
He took shots.
no,
he started off talking about
He ended his
longevity and
fuck you
replay.
round.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
the way
that's a fuck you round, not a don't come for me round.
no, it was
No,
the
it's a closing.
I know.
but what I'm saying is he clearly focused more on why this game could be like a longevity, like why this game could continue to go. More so, he did have like a few shots. I mean, none of you guys were like perfect on it, but that's why I'm giving it, just because more so you and Mike both were like, "Hey, you said this about this game. All right, well, this is it." Like you guys were defending the game more versus just saying, "Hey, this is why I believe in this game," and that, if it makes sense.
I started off defending it, but I definitely went into why. But anyway, it's okay.
Right.
I mean,
No,
I basically kind of laid
I'll
mine
just-
out too. So
I'm not. I'm done arguing. I'm sorry.
I'm not
used to being
arguing, but
on
I'm
your side of things.
no more fish sex for Jason.
Well, I already had the score set before you mentioned that, so I'm not
Oh, okay.
punishing you or anything.
Oh, then I'm just
So-
not going to shut up. I mean,
No. So going second. Again, this one it's honestly really close between it. It could have been like a coin flip, just because the only thing, Jason, and I know it's every week it happens. If you would have just strictly went into that second part of your closing, I probably would have gave you the nod more so over Mike, and probably even up there with Jake. But because it became so much of just defending it, that's where I kind of was like, all right, I got to give Mike like the nod on this one here. So I'm going with Mike number 2, and then Jason number 3.
Well,
You were on the goal line, and
he was pretending he was the Browns.
So I'm glad you brought
And you
up
spiked it
all right,
before you crossed the
All right, let me get this words out here. So I'm glad, Jamar, that you brought up how some people kind of turned it into an attack round at the end there, because there was a whole fucking lot of that. So, but, skipping over that, let's kind of just go through it. So I'm just going to kind of say the who I thought did the best that round, and then I'll explain the other one. So I thought Jake did the best that round, focusing on his product and why it's going to stick around. Now, here's the problem I had with the other ones. You guys got very attacky there. Okay. Then Mike, you ended up selling it of why your game should be made. You talk about how it's like a simplistic $20 game. You're going to get some what the fuck moments out of there. It's down to $6 game. So it's going to give you options. Jason, there's a few things on yours. I was like, yeah, this is good. This is good. This is good. And then you lost me. The final boss fight's timed. And the way I'm judging this is what games would I personally want to play. So the final boss fight is timed. I fucking hate time missions, man. So that did hurt a little bit there. And then you said it's going to go into Escape from LA. I don't know when you saw that movie, but that movie should not be turned into a movie adaptation or a game adaptation at all. So the game I personally like to play the most out of all these would be Cabin in the Woods. I think it's an awesome idea. I like Dead by Daylight. I like Friday the 13th. And I think if this game were to be made, I think it'd be better than those two because there's more to it. I don't think it'd be complex. My second place, I did stick with Mike because I thought at the end he brought it in of why his game should be made. And then, Jason, I have you in third place for that round.
Yay. Jeez. I guess I know what that means.
No, that's not necessarily
We don't
true.
know that yet because it's
Because
been
you got
pretty
the
like
scores.
the only person I know who for sure isn't is Jake because he's won too many of the rounds.
So I
So
have
me
it.
and you
I
were
have
real
it.
close.
I have it tallied up already. Do you guys want to know?
You added
Yeah.
mine in there, right?
Yeah, I added yours.
Okay.
So if I go through the opening round, Jake has 3, Jason has 3, Mike had 0. We go to the attack round. Jake moved up 6. Jason and Mike were both tied at 3. The defend round, Jake had 8, Jason had 6, and Mike had 4. Now here's where it gets interesting. The closing round, Jake had 12, Jason ended with 6, and Mike ended with 6.
Oh
Shit.
So it's tied.
shit!
Oh, jeez.
Fuck me.
All right, so
Fuck me sideways.
have our very first bitch of the week, sudden death. All right, so here's
Oh
the deal.
shit, son.
If there are 2 losers, a sudden death will be initiated. The judges and the winner, who is Jake this week with 12 points, will pick the second place winner. If you end up losing, again, Jake obviously didn't lose, so I don't know why I mentioned this. I kept reading again. I just kept reading again.
You're
All
good.
right. So you guys are going to get another round to sell us, and more importantly, sell Jake. All right. So we don't have an order for this. So who wants to go first? How about that?
You want to do a coin flip?
No, just who wants to go first? Someone pick it. I don't care.
Neither one.
I'll go
wants to
first.
I'll
Fuck
go.
it.
I was going to say, all right, go ahead.
So is this one timed or is this just
Nope, not time. Take
okay?
time,
Because I
buddy.
couldn't remember because it's been a long time since we set up the sudden death. So
Wait, no. It does say 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it
45
does.
seconds.
Where else say that at?
That was the
Sudden death
original
allows
rules.
both losers 45 seconds to state why they should not be the loser.
I don't see
And I
it.
want you guys strictly to
It's-
stick to why you shouldn't lose. Don't attack the other person.
all right.
Oh, look at that. Your winner of the week is coming in. Okay. All right, so you
Wow.
got 45 seconds. Mike, I'm going to start the timer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'll keep you updated along the way of where you are, just so you're.
I appreciate it, buddy.
And go.
I mean, realistically, I shouldn't be the bitch of the week because my idea, it's a lot more original. It takes parts from multiple games. It gives you some really weird gameplay. It gives you something kind of new and exciting for $20. I mean, we all have those like random games in our library that we're like, oh, this is fun. I'll buy it and eventually play it. There's
25
so
seconds.
much that you can get out of it. Plus, if you really end up liking it, then it gives the developer who did it more business because you're going to try to find out what they've done and purchase more things from them, which then builds the gaming industry even bigger than it already is. And that's all I need, really. I'm done.
Oh, 10 seconds saved. Look at that. All right. Hey, Jason,
Yes,
are you ready, buddy?
I'm ready.
All right. Clock is reset. I'll keep you updated along the way. And, oh, shit, I hit stop by accident. Reset it. Okay, and go.
When you break it down and you strip everything away, all of us are red-blooded Americans. We love guns, we love cars, we love explosions, and we love war heroes coming through and making shit happen at the last second. That's why this game needs to be made, because it is
25
what
seconds.
America wants. That's all I need. I'm good.
Oh, Jesus. Save 22
Wow.
seconds there.
I took my hat off while you were saying that.
Republican is what Jason just said.
Oh, God.
Jesus, I didn't realize we
All
were
right.
running for fucking the
Tell you
mayor
what.
at this point.
I'm going to jump in the first here.
All right,
because
go ahead.
I don't want to be the bad guy of the week. So, okay. I'm going with Mike. And hear me out. This is why. So you both explained why you shouldn't be bitch of the week. Mike, what I like is you took your time. You explained that you had an original idea that has weird gameplay. It's cheap at $20. You get a lot out of it, and it helps build the industry. Jason, I don't feel like I got a lot out of you regarding of why you should not be the bitch of the week. It was just that, hey, we're Americans. We like guns and explosions. That's all I need.
I
So
just said something different than what Mike has already 15,000. So
I get it. When
Said
I'm
it
thinking
first.
about when it gets to the sudden death, I'm thinking of you. That's your last chance to sell it, and I don't think you sold it. So that's the reason I went with Mike.
I feel like I should go second, but then
Yeah, go, Jamar, go.
But I feel like you should get your chance to voice your.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. Okay, so, all right. Jesus, man. All right, so I'm going with Mike. I'm going with Mike again, just because you guys basically both tried to evoke emotions, right? And the reason why I'm going with Mike is because this is gonna sound really weird, but I truly, truly love the gaming industry, and I would love for people to always buy games. I hate buying games used, just because it does help developers, and I always love taking chances on small games, especially $20. Like, I bought Celeste. It was probably one of my favorite games last year. Like, games like that are just so uniquely weird that, like, people deserve to get rewarded for it. So, like, both of you guys, like I said, we're trying to invoke emotions. Mike did a better job at invoking emotion from me. I love this country because I get to do a silly podcast with you guys, but I'm not the red-blooded American who is all about explosions, guns.
Where's our car and explosion
You
soundboard?
just prefer explosive fish sex versus explosion.
Right. Yeah.
No. But that's the only reason I'm scoring it this way. If I had my choice of playing the game, I'm pretty sure on a day-to-day like gameplay, I feel like I'm gonna have more fun with Jason's game. But at the end of the day, I just want the gaming industry to be fun, and I want people to play fun games. So, Mike, you got it for me.
Well, you know what? Let's just go hear what Jake thought, even though Mike took it. I want to know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I want to hear Jake shit on me too. Let's go.
All right. So I feel like even before he started this week, Mike knew it was going in like this because the entire game that he's been suggesting has been geared to me. Like, not like, honestly, like, and he just kind of closed out very well because we had a conversation in our group chat about how I haven't spent $60 on a game in a very long fucking time. I usually buy my games after, wait until they're on sale on Steam or whatever. But another game that he reminded me of is I just bought the Untitled Goose Game. It's a fucking game about a goose. It's weird as shit. It shouldn't work, but it was $14 and I bought it and it's amazing. So, and it gives that developer, which it's House that made the Untitled Goose Game, and Tall Tale went under, unfortunately, so they wouldn't be able to make Mike's game, but somebody could and fill that void and step in, and I think that's a better, marketing and business idea rather than spending quite a bit of money to make another open world game, which gets expensive for it to maybe break even or make a profit. I don't see that game getting made realistically in terms of Jason's game, just due to how expensive it would be to make and the economy of games and everything. Whereas I do see the Shape of Water game getting made. So that's why I was going to give my vote to Mike as well, mostly because I would play the hell out of that game and I think it's more likely to happen.
It's okay. I'm happy to be bitch of the week. You guys just all endorsed the game about mermaid porn. So
I'm just surprised Mike didn't bring in the fact that my game would also have a mermaid in it.
It's true.
But it's probably been too long since most of you have watched Cabin in the Woods, which is a shame.
It's a great movie.
All right. Well, I'm the bitch of the week.
It's gonna be a somber outro.
Can't wait for next week.
I can't wait to hear the
I would say
outros.
by the narrowest of margins, but
Thank you for listening.
But
to
that
this
queen
Fanboy
sweep
Fight
at the
Club
end.
podcast.
By narrowest of margins, it was a unanimous. So, all right, no, it's cool. It is what it is. I've had a shitty week, so this just kind of added to it. So, all right. I want to thank everybody for listening to this week's Fanboy Fight Club podcast. We are Media Junkies' flagship podcast, but we are also so much more. You can catch Michael and I on the Gimmick Minute Wrestling podcast, #LiveYourGimmick. If you're a fan of the Division 2, you can find out a whole bunch of information about the game, reviewing the state of the game with Jamar and Wes on the Rogue Agents podcast. #Let's Go Rogue. You can also find all of our YouTube content on youtube.com/Media Junkie. And you can also interact with Jake on the Fanboy Fight Club Facebook page or tweet at him at FBFC Podcast. So we're going to go ahead and close the show out today. I got a few questions for you guys. Will Michael find the right hole? Will Jake have a chance to be updated? Will Wes get comfortable with fish set?
Nope.
Uh-oh. What's going to happen to Jamar?
Tune in next week
Jamar
on Podcast V.
Where'd he
I think
go?
he muted himself. Oh man, that's rough.
This
All right,
week's
so
just getting worse
I'll
and
go
worse.
ahead.
Will
I'll go ahead and
Jamar
take this
find out
offer.
where Jason went? Find out
Yeah,
next time on Fanboy Fight Club.
Fight Club.
All right, so I will take this moment to, if you guys want to tweet me at FBFC Podcast, any shitty movie posters you find or shitty movies, I'm going to try to start tearing them apart, and hopefully we can make something out of that. So just throwing that out there.
I feel so bad for Jason. Should we check on him? Make sure he's didn't kill himself.
He was having a bad week, guys.
Oh my god, where'd he go?
I don't know. Is he
I
in
don't
the
want to
chat
make this
still?
dark, but he does record in his basement, right? So he
Oh,
just
no.
climbed up.
Did he just go full Robert Williams?
Oh, God. Yeah, we can't post this.
God. Let's go and
Well,
end
he's
it now.
still in the. That's what Jason said.
Will Jamar ever collude or whatever bullshit he's gonna say?
Oh God! All right.